My name is Garrick Dietze. I have been on a number of panels over the years, a lot of Twin Peaks fan panels over the years, but this is encompassing all of David Lynch's work, wherever that may take us. Let's start down on the end with Anne. Tell us your name, what drew you into David Lynch initially?
Well, as I was telling you earlier, my friend and I were in junior high school, and they had these things at the time called mom and pop video stores, which sold things called VHS cassettes. And we thought it'd be really cool to rent this movie called Eraserhead, because we had started hearing about David Lynch, and we thought, oh, we'll be so cool because no one else has seen this. And then at the end, our eyes were just like, our eyes have been opened, and so then we rode the Twin Peaks, that first initial series, and that was amazing. So that was my introduction.
My name is Nate Anderson. Gosh, I came late to Twin Peaks, so I'm trying to remember what my first introduction was. It was probably Blue Velvet, actually. But yeah, after that I kind of sought out everything else he did at that point, like Eraserhead and stuff, so. But yeah, and then I've been a fan ever since, so.
My name is Noel Thingvall. I'm probably a more relative newcomer. Probably the first Lynch movie I saw was the TV cut of Dune when I was 10 years old at 1 in the morning on the Disney Channel.
Oh, no.
That was a weird time for the Disney Channel.
Yes.
I had no idea what the hell was going on, but it looked so cool. And then probably when I was 13 when I saw Lost Highway, had no idea what was going on, and then did not watch another David Lynch film until probably about 12, 13 years ago when I caught Eraserhead randomly and thought it was hilarious. Granted, I also think Requiem for a Dream and Eyes Wide Shut are hilarious.
You're my new best friend.
Hey!
All right, yes.
And in the last 15 years, I've just been kind of slowly catching up. I've caught all the Twin Peaks. I just finished watching Mulholland Drive for the first time this morning. I have fresh thoughts.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason. I know the first David Lynch movie I saw was probably Dune, but I had no idea that it was a David Lynch movie. I just thought it was a cool sci-fi film. So I thought like bits and pieces of it. But the very first David Lynch movie I saw from beginning to end was Lost Highway. Because a bunch of friends of mine wanted to see this movie because at the time, my friends were big Marilyn Manson fans. And they knew that he was going to be in the movie. And so we went to the theater to watch it, and I was completely confused. I love the soundtrack, Smashing Pumpkins, Rammstein. We were just a big Rammstein fan after that movie. And they're like, who's that Adrian Church band? I'm like, I don't know, I'll find this Adrian Church band. But yes, Lost Highway was my first big introduction to David Lynch. And then after that, I had to watch Blue Velvet, and then Wild at Heart, and then Eraserhead, all the other ones too. Binge Twin Peaks right away, and I just absolutely loved it.
All right. Well, David Lynch was born January 20th, 1946. Passed away at the beginning of this year, January 16th, at the age of 78. Was born in Missoula, Montana. And if you've ever been to Missoula, Montana, that's about the most exciting thing about this.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about his life. I know Anne brought a lot of research material, and I'm sure this panel can probably talk a little bit about Lynch's life and some of his formative years and where he got his some of his ideas.
Well, this is a good one if you're not necessarily a completist, but dare to dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a look at his personal and creative life, a lot of his writings, a lot of his thoughts on his friends and family. And he just, from the Twin Peaks era on, it's amazing how he was just described as the Boy Scout or Eagle Scout? Eagle Scout. And I don't think that was an act. So that was always something people found very intriguing, was the dark, dark weirdness and the Boy Scout exterior. So that's one thing I found very striking.
Anybody else have any thoughts on his formative years?
Where you kind of grew up in. I just know that he got into art, very early on. I don't know much about his other like pearl stuff going on because I just got more into David Lynch when it came to his actual films. But I know he did painting a lot, and I know he made like a bunch of like short films. All I know from Eraserhead, what I read about is that it took a long time for Eraserhead to be made for his first feature. Like over like 5 years.
Jack Nance had an anecdote where he talked about the filming of that, and he said there was one shot where he's getting ready to enter the house.
Sure.
And they didn't film him entering the house for another 2 years.
Yeah.
And the next shot they filmed was him in the house.
It's basically
So-
that and Dark Star, they just kind of built those films over the course of years.
But one form, sorry, no.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what's interesting is, it sounds like his childhood was kind of that idealized white picket fence Americana, and then when he suddenly, fell into a relationship, got married, had a kid, they moved into the city, and it was the super crime-ridden industrial section of town, so I think he just found a lot of intrigue in the contrast between those two clashing sides of America.
And one imagery that stuck with him when he was a kid, I think he was somewhere between 8 and 10, he and his little brother encountered a naked, battered woman. And that never showed up in any of his works. So that imagery definitely stuck with him, and also I think
Was that scene in Straight Story? No?
Richard Farnsworth, very sexy, as carried in scene.
The deer was.
But that imagery stayed with him, and I think also affected a lot of his ideas and thoughts around his female characters. And let's talk about his female characters in all of his works and what you think they bring to the table.
I do think, I'm really curious to hear what other people think. I find he has a fascination with women in emotional distress. And it's like, I think he contrasts that with men that are often in ethical distress. Where it's like the men have to choose what to do and the women have to choose what's being done to them. It's hard because he definitely explores a lot of violence committed towards women, but he's also exploring the reactions to violence.
Am I wrong in thinking that Blue Velvet is actually essentially a heartwarming story about a mother who gets her kid back? Instead of just being like a really dark tale? Because...
Blue Velvet is the Hardy Boys stumble into a Mickey Spillane novel.
Is it? I thought it was like Mulholland Drive was more of that Nancy Drew type of material.
They're both.
They're both?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, alright.
Well, I remember watching a review of Siskel and Ebert of Blue Velvet, and they just felt it was horrendous.
They thought it was very misogynistic.
Yeah, and watching it, from my perspective, I didn't see that, but I was a horror fan, so maybe that's a different lens that you watch stuff through.
Yeah.
And, the most enduring image of that he is known as is a woman, a dead woman wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
And what I recall most of all from watching Twin Peaks when it premiered was the griminess of that, but then the operatic grief of everyone in town when they found out that she was dead. It's just that jarring mix.
Well, I think it's definitely, he uses violence against women to explore violence against women.
Yeah.
In how we kind of idealize these pictures of femininity, especially because he likes the classic Hollywood starlet look, but then contrast that with the abuse that they are then receiving.
Oh.
David Lynch liked contrast.
Nate, anything you wanted to add?
Not that it hasn't been said already, just the contrast. Yeah, it's Siskel and Ebert really like to pull out that sort of misogyny criticism a lot. And
They were coming out of the slasher era.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where they applied it, and I didn't think it necessarily applied there either.
He may write this woman in distress, but there are always women that come out of it.
Yeah.
Near the end of it too. Like the ultimate like Final Girl too, and they're like solve all of their problems or they go deeper into it. And sometimes in his films, you don't realize that the protagonist is actually maybe the villain towards the end of it, especially with like Mulholland Drive.
Right. Yeah.
Or Twin Peaks?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What imagery has stood out in your minds from his work? Any particular moment?
Flickering lights.
Yeah.
I just love the sound that he puts over it.
The big giant like flames. Because I know like when they were showing Wild at Heart in theaters, they actually had to go to the projectionist. David Lynch went to each theater and wanted to make sure that the projectionist turned up the sound like really loud, so that we get a shot of Wild at Heart where the flames come out. He wanted the sound to almost like break the speakers for that.
I know it's a blinking you miss moment, but that mushroom cloud in Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh, the episode 7? Or?
Yeah, where half the episode is basically just that.
Yes. Oh.
Trust me, there's a reason.
Yeah.
It's something to look forward to, not spoiled.
The noise of the baby in Eraserhead. I
Yeah.
will never get that out of my head.
Yeah,
Never.
just the baby in general in Eraserhead is just burned into my memory.
Oh.
Oh.
Especially when you're watching as a young teen, and you're like, well, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know you're watching something, but you don't know what quite it is yet.
Yeah, and I still had that same reaction watching it again after he passed. The Alamo Drafthouse had a whole marathon of his movies, and just even watching it in the theater is even more jarring. But
Oh my
still see it today. The baby just never stops crying, and it's that. Yeah.
Mine, surprisingly, is the opening of Firewalk with Me, where the TV gets smashed.
Yes.
And for me, I interpret it as, and other people have as well, is this isn't the TV show you were expecting.
That's
This
true.
is something different. We're breaking out of TV and doing something different. And I feel like he also does that a lot in season 3.
Yes.
He plays with a lot of genres. In my mind, there's one moment where I'm like, you're just riffing on Tarantino films, and you're making your version of a Tarantino moment. And there's things like that sprinkled all throughout season 3, which I absolutely love. He's just playing with the conventions.
Oh, the shuddering monster in the box. That started that series off like that.
And when they were doing all the retrospectives, we went and saw Lost Highway, and the audience absolutely loved the anger management driving scene.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And I had never seen Lost Highway on the big screen, so to hear an audience that engaged is like, I wish I could do that.
Don't you ever tell again ever!
I have mixed feelings on Lost Highway, but that Robert Loggia scene is one of the best.
Oh. Well, because the whole thing with like Lost Highway, do you agree with what they said in interviews that David Lynch was like watching the OJ trials, and that he kind of based it around the OJ trials? Like, how could a man commit all these like horrific things and then suddenly act like everything's fine? And that's what I think what the Bill Pullman character is doing, very much so. He's just trying to like see himself as a different person, and I still get confused if Balthazar Getty is supposed to be his younger interpretation.
I want to remember things my way.
Yes.
Not the way they actually happen.
My interpretation of Lost Highway is that he had 2 different stories and couldn't figure out how to finish either one, so he just kind of put them togetger.
There's 2 different stories there.
Noel did say before the panel that he would have hot takes.
Hey, I typed a 2-star review to Mulholland Drive.
Any other imagery or sound? Because sound is a big.
Well,
I actually like that we're getting some mild feedback on the mics because it fits.
it's mostly just the use of like music that he uses in movies. The way he uses the actual songs. Like, I still have the 16 Reasons from Mulholland Drive, and I Told Every Little Star. I mean, those moments of her singing always works for me. I mentioned before Rammstein in Lost Highway. Of course, the I can't even tell clown, they call it Sandman.
Yeah.
Tiptoes to my room every night.
Yeah. Rebecca Del Rio's.
Oh yeah,
version.
What I love about the Rebecca Del Rio scene in Mulholland Drive is that entire sequence is like, this has been recorded. And yet then that scene is played so heartfelt and so emotional that you forget that until she stops singing and the song keeps going. And it's again, I like his embrace of artifice.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh.
All right, what about projects that didn't make it to the finals?
In our own estimations?
Wait.
Or stuff that he had high ideas for and then just couldn't get over the finish line.
Well, the thing is, other than the one Saliva Bubble and Roddy Rocket, we don't really have anything out there to look at. Those ones we have the actual scripts, which I've read. If you want me to just take a minute on those really quick.
Go ahead.
Roddy Rocket, I read the draft that he was going to do right after Eraserhead. He then subsequently rewrote it after Blue Velvet. The version after Eraserhead was 2 films that would cut back and forth, where one would be a detective in a city of perpetual night chasing after a killer who is himself. So a lot of similar stuff there. And then the story of Ronnie Rocket would be this kind of android automaton man who ends up becoming this teen rock sensation because whenever he goes up on stage, he short circuits. And so all of his singing is distorted and he's sputtering around and juddering. And I honestly think that didn't get made because Yahoo Serious' Young Einstein came out, which had the same visual performance.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very interesting, but again, it was one of those stories where it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just kind of a bunch of stuff happens and then it ends. And then one Saliva Bubble was, he wrote it with Mark Frost right before they did Twin Peaks. It was going to be a film where kind of his broad version of Freaky Friday, where a whole group of people in a town switch places, but instead of like mentally switching places, they just switch personality. So like say me and Jason were to switch places, we would still have our memories and all that stuff of being ourselves, but we would have different personalities. So it's like whatever he likes or hates or his drives and talents and goals would suddenly be over on my side. And one of the main central points to that was a mentally disabled man gets switched with a corporate CEO and runs the company better. And a lot of that was recycled in Twin Peaks: The Return as all the Dewey stuff.
Oh, okay. What was your take on that whole switch with Dale Cooper and the whole Dewey thing that happened in the last season? Dougie, sorry, Dougie, thank you so much, Dougie, yes.
Twin Peaks: The Return was one of those ones I didn't mind just riding with. I was just vibing with it. I watched like one episode a month, so I could just take some time off.
Oh, so that's probably the best way to do that.
Yeah, and I rode with it.
That's fair.
It had its ups and downs, but I rode with it.
All right, what about, and you had mentioned that maybe something that didn't quite work for you, but...
For me, it was Fire Walk with Me, because we saw it in the theater, my friend and I, my Eraserhead friend and I, and it was right after the second season of Twin Peaks, and you're still in that mode of episodic television. It was a mass viewing thing. It was a communal experience, and then we watched the movie, and I could not connect with it at all. It was so different from the Twin Peaks I knew from the screen and from watching every week. And I had a little log that I put on top of my TV to watch the show, and I put a little postcard of the log lady, Laura Palmer. Entertainment Weekly had a postcard in it. And so I put it in front of a little log, and it was so jarring. I couldn't connect with it at all.
It's totally kind of relentless.
Have you rewatched it?
I have not tried to.
Okay. Because and I think that was the biggest complaint from a lot of people at the time. It was just so tonally different from the series.
Yeah.
Well, and plus they also kind of forced David Lynch to sort of like make up an ending at the middle of the second season. Like, we need to know who the killer is right away.
Yeah.
And I think knowing who it is right away kind of takes the weight out of the movie, in my opinion. The idea.
But at least in the movie and in season 3, James is so cool.
Oh, I felt like in the TV show we knew Laura Palmer, even though we didn't. We learned more about her. She was more distant to me in Fire Walk with Me. I felt very removed from her in a way I did in the TV show.
And I get that there's a point to that, of like that's what led her where she ended up.
Yeah.
I found it very resonant, but part of it is because I'm me, I read the script before watching it, so I could see all the missing pieces, elements in context. I do definitely think a lot of that movie got cut out. To the point where there's an entire film worth of it. And I think it would help to watch both of them as companion pieces. I don't know, I think it's also
All the comedy is in the missing piece.
Yeah, that's true, yes.
all the comedy and also just the broader story of the town and characters also. And I think anytime you're forcing David Lynch to do a prolonged narrative, he gets kind of tired of it very quickly. And I think actually one of the fascinating bits about Twin Peaks for me is David Lynch does something abstract and weird, and then Mark Frost comes in for a couple episodes to try to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And then David Lynch comes back and does something abstract and weird, and then Mark Frost comes in to try to make sense of it. And like Mark Frost is the one who writes all the books of the lore of Twin Peaks, and it's like, I don't think David Lynch gave a crap about lore.
Twin Peaks, this came out, it's called a novel, The Secret History of Twin Peaks, I think first one.
And I think season 3 had elements of that too, where you can definitely tell what are the parts where it's Frost trying to make sense of everything, and then what are the parts that's Lynch just doing his thing.
But isn't that fun, that balance between the...
Well, it's like watching one of those novels where the authors are trading back and forth. And not to spoil the end of season 3, because I know someone in the front row. But what I like is the episode right before the final episode is basically Mark Frost's finale, where it's all the characters come together for the final confrontation. They're going to overthrow evil. And then the actual last episode is David Lynch saying,
No.
But wait, there's more.
yeah.
Nate, what about you? Anything that didn't quite work for you? Or he's practically perfect in every way.
I'll say
Yeah,
one.
I can't.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, each one of his, I mean, I kind of gravitate more towards his movies, but each one of them have kind of worked for me in their own weird, abstract way. And so, yeah, there really haven't been ones that I was just like, I didn't like it at all, so.
Pretty cool.
Do you want me to say why I'm kind of middling on Mulholland Drive?
Yes, please, because I really like that one.
Because we like it.
Well, I mean, what's fascinating about it is, so again, I read the script for the original TV pilot, so I know the first 98 minutes of that movie are the original TV pilot.
Okay.
He doesn't cut anything, he doesn't add anything. It is just the TV pilot, and it's a very narrative story. Once you get to the 98-minute mark, it completely shifts into the characterizations are completely different. All the dynamics and themes are different. It's anti-narrative. In a way that I can see why some people find it compelling, but I find it, I don't want to say, I feel that he's kind of built this mystique persona around ambiguity and abstraction, where sometimes he does use abstraction as a narrative shortcut for, I can't figure out where to take the story, so I'm going to throw this. I thought Lost Highway did that a lot too with the whole shift.
Okay.
Did you know that was like, did you understand the whole dream logic of,
Dream logic is the easy card that a lot of people use to get out of stuff.
You know, it was actually a dream that...
He painted himself in a corner, now there's a cow on fire. Hey.
I also, before I went to see it, it was described to me as part of this movie's a dream and part's a nightmare. So when I saw it, it made sense to me in the sense I was watching Diane's dream in the beginning, and then it transitions to her nightmare, and that made sense.
Yeah.
No, and I appreciate that. It's just I feel the film. I enjoy it when he does an anti-narrative film from beginning to end, like Eraserhead. Inland Empire is very long, but I appreciated it there. I think when you have 2/3 of the movie is setting up a narrative, and then it just kind of intentionally defies. I get a purpose to it, but it also felt like, hey, I have a TV pilot that we didn't get to do a series for. I don't really know how we were going to end it because I was going to make it up as we went along, but I got to fit another 40 minutes on this movie.
See, I had a different approach there because Inland Empire, I did not understand anything that was going on in that movie at all. I was just completely lost. All right, there's rapids going on here. Laura Dern is an actress being cast for a role in a movie. and then she seems to get lost in the script and in the sets going on there.
Well, she's
and
also
it's
getting
when-
lost in the infidelity of her husband and imagining the type of women that he's sleeping with and then becoming a part of their harem. And kind of like then seeing her husband through their eyes. I get that thread.
I did not understand that part at all, but Mulholland Drive, after watching it good 5 or 6 times, it made more sense to me. I understand that,
But is it-
I understood that, I'm just, not Laura, Naomi Watts, is an actress who is like actually, jealous of this other success this girl's getting, so she hires a hitman to kill her, and then she feels guilty about it, and so now she's having a dream where she's the most successful person because in her real life, she's kind of a failed actress and wasn't able to do much. She won this one big jitterbug dance contest or whatever, and now she's having this dream where she's become this big star. Her auditions, everyone loves her, and then the end of the movie, she's starting to realize that she committed this crime and she can't get out of it.
Well, but she's also 2 different people in that.
That's one interpretation.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, is it that you understood what it was saying, or that you found an interpretation that worked for you?
Probably
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And that's how art works.
And that's yes.
And here's the thing is, I'm kind of middling on those, but I don't deny anyone else their enjoyment of it.
Right, yeah.
So going back to the, I'm sorry you didn't like the subjective art.
I mean, I don't like a short film about 6 men vomiting.
And that's Laabs movies too, is Laabs movies have that subjective art ability where people will gravitate more to one film and not towards another. Like, I showed my friends Wow That Hurts because I thought this is going to be a perfect movie to introduce David Lynch to fans who don't know anything about David Lynch, because it's got very much a singular storyline. You know, 2 lovers go on a cross-country trip to try to escape from the girl's mother, and I thought it'd be an easy story to understand. They hated it.
It's not one of my favorites.
They hated for showing it to them, and I was like, oh, but I tried telling it one of the kids, and it's like a fun storyline.
I always say every actor, even if you dislike them, has one good film in them.
Yeah.
For me, Wild at Heart is Nicolas Cage's film for me.
Yeah, I agree.
For me. I know other people absolutely love him, and I'm glad you like that subjective art. But for me, everybody has that one film. Other influences of his, of course, go everywhere from Wizard of Oz to Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Watch Lynch Oz if you've never seen
Lynch Oz is wonderful.
If you have to, I would recommend, if anyone has the Criterion Channel, watch their Czech New Wave collection, because he was a fan of art house cinema growing up in his 20s, and there are a lot of Czech films from that era that are super highly experimental and surreal that were very influential on him.
Daisies.
Yep. What is it? Death of the Hangman. Yeah, there's some really fascinating stuff in there that once you watch those, it's like, oh, including like down to the gritty industrialism and the kind of mixture of idealized domesticity against hard-ridden crime streets and all that stuff. I mean, he has the whole range. Like we've pointed out a couple. Like he goes back to like Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys versus like hard-boiled noir.
I think let's transition to some questions. Did I see one back there? Yes, with the hand.
Yeah, I raised my hand just because at that point nobody had said anything about Inland Empire yet, and I just wanted to get kind of further into that. Because it was his last directorial feature film before he died. It was, a whole almost 20 years between that and his death, where he didn't make any. Well, he probably attempted to make more feature films, but do you think that?
All right. So Inland Empire. Let's give a 60-second elevator pitch on what it's about.
So it started with a series of web series, right? Like a series of web shorts before it became a feature.
It was a collection of several projects that he kind of glued together. Because I mean, the rabbits were their shorts. Mm-hmm. He had a number of shorts that were literally just meant to test out digital camera equipment. And then he had this kind of thing with Laura Dern that they were just doing as an improvisational experiment.
He would write script pages the day of.
And he basically just kind of took all these various things and smooshed them together. and just was like, let me find it in the editing room.
Somebody doesn't like Inland Empire.
I would argue that he didn't find it in the editing room and should have maybe kept it in like a couple separate projects, but I mean, there's still fascinating stuff in Inland Empire. I think it's just him just kind of unrestrained and out of control.
My favorite thing about Inland Empire is not the movie itself, it's the way that he promoted Laura Dern to be actress. That was my favorite thing. He just sat down in the middle of the road with a cow and a sign saying, please vote for Laura Dern for Inland Empire, and that's what he did. The perfect grassroots promotion is like almost very like punk rock of him to do that.
It's like performance art.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
And his actresses seem to really love him and love working with him. That's why Laura Dern kept coming
All the
back.
time, yeah.
Naomi Watts admits she wouldn't have a career without David Lynch.
Which makes no sense
She was ready to head
She was
home.
a Teen Girl before that.
Well,
Everyone loves Teen Girl.
Ice-T does not love Tank Girl.
yeah, I've seen Children of the Corn Part 4. I think the big thing is, yeah, I mean, he has this kind of weird, mysterious, abstract persona, but in life, he's just this kind of down-to-earth guy that everyone gets along with.
Do we have another question? In the back, in the, yep.
I have two questions. So in Chicago, they ran a late night screening of Blue Velvet, and it was attached to a queer series of films. And we attended it, and they brought a younger friend of ours, 34. But and the audience was laughing, but they were laughing at not the right parts. So
Okay, so
it was uncomfortable with my friend who was there, like about the age of who may have been laughing. He was angry also. He's like, why are they laughing at this scene? Like, why are they doing that? And they got so bad that even the music box put out a statement apologizing.
yeah, so for those who didn't hear, there was a screening of Blue Velvet, and audiences were laughing at not necessarily moments that would typically be laughed at.
What was it, the overall audience or just a specific pocket of the
It
audience?
was bigger parts. I mean, it's a late night series, and there was a burlesque show before and stuff like that. So people, I guess, have been drinking and maybe.
Yeah,
And
but
I've noticed on a lot of times when that happens is that, well, and what's great about horror films is that audiences laugh at moments that make them uncomfortable. So I don't necessarily know what moments those were, but that's also a good reason to say Lynch definitely falls into the horror category for a lot of his work. But also drinking can play a factor, and
Or desensitization.
yeah.
Desensitization. Desensitized to things. It actually, I wasn't bothered about it initially, but it
And that happened similarly. I saw a screening of Wild at Heart, and that has such affected dialogue and performances that there were a number of people in the audience who were just laughing at the performances because they couldn't get behind it, because they weren't on the same wavelength.
Because they're used to like Nicolas Cage being a certain persona, so when they see him doing that type of thing, they don't laugh at it. And I'm sure people are probably laughing at Dennis Hopper's, doing the whole thing right there too,
Yeah.
because maybe they just saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 and they're expecting that same table like wild Dennis Hopper energy that he does.
no,
and
there's some
it's-
stuff that Dennis Hopper does in that movie that is clear.
Yeah, there's some.
I mean, I think the thing about tonally, David Lynch, like Blue Velvet is a good example of he has dry camp. Like he has this kind of arch delivery of very heightened reality. So there is this, again, like David Lynch didn't really click with me until I got his sense of humor. Like when I watched Eraserhead for the first time, I was laughing the whole time. Because he's using darkness sometimes also to shock laughs out of people. But I mean, yes, there's absolutely some stuff in there that shouldn't be laughed at, but I do think there's a lot that is. So I don't know if maybe they were just in the mood or maybe partaking in some substances.
And I know there was like interviews with Isabel Rossellini when they're talking about the whole sexual assault scene with her and Dennis Hopper, and they're shooting the scene together, and they can hear David Lynch laughing, and they're like, "What are you laughing about? What's so funny?" And he just couldn't help but laugh during that sequence.
Well, and I think because it's being played with a level of heightened absurdity
Yeah, like
too.
very camp style.
The guy, the person with the yellow X, yeah.
Yep. I happen to notice you guys haven't mentioned the Elephant Man yet. I have a quick question about, I thought I heard something about Robert Eggers making a remake. What are your thoughts on that?
It's with the same guy from A Different Man, and I forgot the actor's
Sebastian
name.
Stan or?
No, not Sebastian
Oh,
Stan.
okay, okay.
The other guy. They're gonna do with him, and I'm intrigued if they do with that actor.
I'm
involved.
pro remakes, let's go ahead and see what happens.
Yeah.
I find it interesting, we haven't talked about, it's a straight story, Elephant Man, the normal stuff.
I mean, well, Dune too, and
Dune, yeah.
I think what's interesting about Dune and Elephant Man and even Straight Story is that those were projects that were developed before he became involved, and he was
Right.
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
a director for hire on those, and he kind of brought elements of his own style to them. But I mean, yeah, wasn't Elephant Man a play initially?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Dune, what I love is Frank Herbert loved working with him on Dune. Frank Herbert was like, I loved all the weird stuff he did. I want to put some of that in the books. And then Straight Story, I think, was one of his producing partners was developing it. And he just was like, this looks like something fun I've never done before.
Yeah, it was definitely a stretch for him.
That was, they said before that's probably his most experimental film was A Straight Story.
Yeah.
I was doing that.
It's a road trip at 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I will say I am not a fan of remakes unless the artistic vision has something unique and different to say.
Well, but you won't know that until you make it.
Sometimes you know ahead of time. Sometimes you know if a remake is just a cash-in. Disney. But Nosferatu, I thought was a gorgeous film.
Yeah.
I didn't know why it needed to be made.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
subjective art, that's personal opinion.
I agree.
And if you loved it, hey,
Yeah.
more power to you, it worked for you.
Honestly, what you could do with the remake of Elephant Man is just do a reinterpretation in the modern social media age.
Yeah.
That could be a very interesting way of telling that story.
That could be.
That's not what Robert Eggers did.
You can donate to Noel on PayPal, Venmo.
That's not what Robert Eggers is going to do.
No.
Yeah. Did anybody else want to talk about Straight Story more, or?
No,
It's just a straightforward, beautiful movie.
There was a hand up over here, yeah, no, pink.
Yeah, and I was late, so I apologize if this has been discussed yet, but as long as we're on the comedy, there are scenes that are definitely purposely funny, especially I think in season 3 of Twin Peaks. I was just hoping, whether it's from Twin Peaks or any of Lynch work, I was hoping the panelists could each maybe share one moment that comes to mind as something that particularly tickled fancy.
All right, I'll start this off here. It's in Mulholland Drive. And it's the scene where like this big Horton guy comes in and Adam Kesher, and this like, almost like a spider monkey, this like blonde girl just comes up, starts jumping on the guy like, he's not here, get over here.
And Billy Ray Cyrus runs in and gets
No, she gets knocked out, and then Billy Ray Cyrus comes out. It's so bizarre that Billy Ray Cyrus is in a David Lynch movie. It's funny by itself, and then he knocks him out as well, and then just stands there. Adam Kesher. That's what makes me laugh.
The other hilarious scene is the hitman who kills the guy and accidentally shoots a hole in the wall and kills another person. So now he has another person he has to kill, and then there's another witness, so he has another person. Yeah.
Oh man! Tries to shoot stuff and starts stuff on fire.
Well, here's the question: has anyone else seen the David Lynch TV series from 1982 called On the Air?
On the air, yeah, no.
It's pretty short-lived. It only lasted 7 episodes. It was him and Mark Frost again, and I just watched it a few weeks ago. It's all on archive.org. It's a half-hour sitcom, and it's set in 1957. It's about the filming of a live variety show. And every episode is like episode 2 is episode 2, and they're filming episode 2. Episode 3 is titled episode 3. They're filming episode 3. And it's basically every episode is a noises off screwball farce of everything that goes wrong, and they're still trying to make the show work. And it's no surreal element, no crime noir. It's just David Lynch doing screwball comedy. And it's cartoony screwball comedy, like the boss is calling on the phone, so they pick it up and flame shootouts,
And Miguel Ferrer's in that.
And Miguel Ferrer's in that as like the overworked head of the network.
It's David Lynch's Puppet Show.
There is a hand puppet episode. And it's it's not a great series, but it's funny and it's cool to just see a series where David Lynch is having fun.
Orange X.
I came in a little late also, so apologize.
Oh, we explained everything.
So when I think about Lynch and his work and everything, to me, they impact you. Some might call it disturbing, but somehow usually they strike you in a more significant way than most film artists, right? So each of you on the panel, I guess I would be interested to hear from you, which of his film works did you find most disturbing or struck you the most, and why?
Can I start this?
Yeah.
I will say Fire Walk With Me. There is a scene with Ray Wise, who, brilliant actor, but there's a moment where he knows what he's done and is not happy with it and with himself. And you see this, it's a quiet scene, but you see all these transitional moments and emotions in his face. And it made the hackles on my back of my neck stand up because it felt so real. And I think that's why, as it's been reinterpreted over the years, it's grown in esteem by a lot of people who did not like it initially. And that's why Anna asked if you had seen it, rewatched it. Because there's some powerful stuff about abuse and abusers, and yeah, it's sad and creepy and heartfelt. And I think that's what Lynch does so well in a lot of quiet moments across his work.
Because I think it makes you empathize for the person when you've just seen the worst thing that they've done.
Yeah. And then they realize what they've done. So that's mine.
Okay.
Top that.
Yeah.
Go down. What about you?
What do you get?
Oh gosh, just right off the top of my head, the only thing that really comes, I can't top that one. That's a damn. But for me, it's got to be the sequence in Blue Velvet where Dennis Hopper is beating on Jeffrey, and that song's being played because he just can't get out of it. And that scene, and also a lot of the violent scenes that happen to Dorothy in that too, where she just is just stuck and can't do anything. And then she tries to take that same violence that's done to her and does it to Jeffrey as well. And this woman is just so damaged. You don't not think she's gonna get the happy ending that she does. And at the end, when her kid comes back to her, breaks my heart every time I watch it. And I do cry a little bit because she got the happy ending that she wants, and I like that very much. Different from other David Lynch movies where they don't really get the happy ending. Like Thor. Laura Dern is really good. Like, and yeah, she does get happy ending in Wild at Heart.
She does.
But she doesn't in Blue Velvet.
Laura Dern doesn't get a happy ending in Twin Peaks.
No. She's not in yes.
Allegedly.
Let's just be
Interpretively. Nate, I want to make sure, Nate, you get some mic
They're
time.
kind of dominating.
Yeah, so, the one that unnerved me the most would probably be Eraserhead, and just the idea that David Lynch is kind of exploring his own fear of fatherhood, and there's just this nightmarish quality of it that really got under my skin.
I think for me too, that one, because I feel like I was watching a nightmare and I didn't understand it, but I couldn't not watch it.
Yeah.
And also for me, sensory-wise, there's a moment in Twin Peaks where Madeline, Laura's cousin, is murdered by Leland.
Yes.
And the sound, I don't even know if I should describe it, but the group, okay. And it's just awful, and it's never left me, and so it's a credit to the sound design.
Yeah.
No?
Eraserhead. Well, and the thing is, I said the first time I watched Eraserhead, I was laughing, but it was also horrified laughter because while I was watching it, I realized, okay, this is just a nightmare of abstract nightmare of young adulthood anxiety. You know, you're out on your own, you're in a crappy apartment, you have a crappy job, there's sounds of industry all over the place, you got weird neighbors, you got this girl you like, but her parents are weird. And suddenly she's pregnant, and she's leaving you with the baby, and the baby's sick, and the baby's kind of weird. You know, it's just all those flurry of overwhelming emotions that could be going on in a young family man's head. And you can see, especially like learning that, you know, he had suddenly unexpectedly had a daughter. His relationship was falling apart. I think they got divorced while it was in production. He was living in the crime-ridden area of the city and just had no real prospects. And there was just this weird piece of art that he was putting together. And you can very much see his own emotions being channeled through the film. And I think that meta-narrative level of it was what fascinated me the most, but it was also just kind of, it's a horrifying nightmare.
I was gonna say Inland Empire only as a descent, as the trajectory was all kind of overwhelming, but thank you.
I think it would have been overwhelming had it been an hour shorter and I wasn't tired of it.
Yeah, what I love about Lynch is the way he depicts the multiplicity of personality, that no character in any of his films, TV shows, has just one personality. You know, we've got doppelgangers and all the rest. What is the character whose turn you did not appreciate, and maybe he didn't bring that character back to that old character that you really fell in love with? For me, it was Audrey Horne. I thought he did her pretty dirty. Who is it for you?
And I will justify the Audrey in season 3 because that to me is him riffing on Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Oh, okay.
That's some light bulbs.
Which I can appreciate without enjoying.
I don't think I need to like watch other films to like enjoy that. I appreciate he's ripping on these films and everything, but I have not seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, so I don't know about that.
You're off the panel.
I mean, the baby in Eraserhead got a raw deal.
Yeah.
It just wanted some medicine, and then he went to change the diaper, and it all spilled apart, and it just...
I did not understand the whole Dale Cooper and the whole Dougie thing, where he's like essentially like in a coma the whole entire like part of the season until he like comes back. That I just found.
In all seriousness, that is probably the one that hurts the most because we love Dale Cooper. And I was fine with how long it took Cooper to come back.
But then it goes very dark.
But then he, in my mind, interpretation, he ruins Laura's story. And that hurt because he doesn't want to ruin Laura's story. He's trying to do the right thing, and I think that's what Lynch was getting at. You can still try to do the right thing and fail miserably. My 2 cents.
I like the evil gangster guy right there too, but I not like the nice comatose guy. So I thought if they're gonna do that, just pick one lane or another. But that's just me.
I did love Dougie Jones, though.
Okay. The scene where him and Nobody Watts have sex together, where he's just there.
The scene where she has to...
He's just there the whole time, just like that. Oh gosh, just comedy gold right there.
Well, that and the scene where she has to teach him how to pee.
Yeah.
See, Katrina, aren't you glad you didn't see that at the music box? Anybody have any other characters that they felt got done dirty? Right,
Joan Chen's character.
Oh, yes! Thank you, okay.
That was a real letdown.
Is she still in that?
Well, and it's like Twin Peaks...
That's the noise they heard, I think, in the office.
Twin Peaks season 3 kind of seemed to hint that the eyeless Asian woman was going to be that character, but then of course goes in a different direction. I think again, setting up expectations and then subverting them.
I'm so excited for you to watch season 3.
So, David Lynch was incredibly influential. Like, without Twin Peaks, we wouldn't have X-Files. Like, we wouldn't have modern day television. What are some of your favorite pieces of media that are influenced by David Lynch, but created by other artists?
I'll say one right there, and that's the works of Chris Cunningham, who did a bunch of like, he did the Apis Twin Come to Daddy video, He did like Madonna's Frozen, and a lot of his music videos and short films, I believe, are
Rubber Johnny.
Rubber Johnny, very much, yeah. Stuff like that.
And what influences? What did Lynch influence that you
Well, for
love?
me, if he helped the X-Files come to TV, that's a good thing in my book.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would probably be it for me.
Yeah.
I think what, but I mean, did that ultimately turn out for the good?
For the first couple seasons?
For the first few seasons,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
honestly, like his serialized structure for bringing that soap opera procedural mystery thing to TV kind of restructured TV as a whole.
That's
Oh yeah,
true,
yeah.
Like, I forgot how big Twin Peaks was when it first came out.
it
How
was
huge. Like, they had the whole cast on Donahue and just trying to figure out what the secrets was. And it was the very first time that they had a serialized TV series, because most TV shows had just a one-off
Can I
ending.
show you a few things from the era?
Yes.
So we've got the unauthorized book, Welcome to Twin Peaks, that I hang on to for dear life. Secret Diary of Laura Palmer. Autobiography of Dale
Good
Cooper.
question, the Secret Diary, was that the one that was written by Jennifer Lynch?
Yes.
Yes. The official guide to Twin Peaks. And so that was just a hint of it. And it was wild. It was everywhere and everyone was talking about it.
Well, and the secret tapes of Dale Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, yes, the audio tape.
The audio tapes.
Do they still have the Twin Peaks, like, reunion shows at the place where they shoot Twin Peaks at in Washington? Do they still have, like...
They had a convention. I don't know if
Conventions.
it's still going on. They did have one.
Actually, one of my favorite bits of media that we got out of it was the Twin Peaks episode of Psych.
Yes. Dual
They did an
spiders.
entire.
Yeah.
I think did Jennifer direct that one too?
Yeah.
I know she was a director on Psych.
Sesame Street
Yeah.
kind of stole
Yes.
first of
Yes.
Twin Peaks called Twin Peaks. with Big Bird on there, and Cookie Monster. And it's,
But yeah, you got Supernatural, you got
yeah.
Lost, love it or hate it.
Oh yeah.
I think just that, I think that level of TV that wasn't afraid to kind of break into unreal narratives.
Even Good Place has some Twin Peaks references.
The leftovers?
Yeah, the 100, Sense8, all those
Yes.
incredible amount of
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls. Yellow X.
Hi, this is more a question, I mean, it's open for everybody, but it's more of a question for Noel, because you brought up, was it On Air, you said? So
On
I
Air.
have a question more about David Lynch's TV work, because I saw his failed TV show Hotel Room.
I only got to watch the first segment of that this weekend. I haven't watched the other two yet.
Okay, it's not great, I'm gonna tell you that right now.
The first segment was okay.
That's my question, is why is he so problematic when it comes to TV shows? Why do they get canceled? Why do they need to rewrite the second season? It's like, I feel like
But I
there's a
find a lot
very
of
weird
those
relationship there.
See, but I find a lot of those narrative issues in some of his films too, and people don't agree with me. So.
I think it's because they want to work with Lynch because Lynch is a name. Lynch is a powerful artistic name. And then when he turns stuff in, they're like, oh, that's not what we wanted. It is. You're just idiots. But that's why when they announced season 3 and Lynch was like, hey, that chewing gum you like is going to come back. And then they're like, well, we actually don't want to pay you for it. So they kicked him off the show, and then season 3 wasn't going to happen. And then that's when all the actors said, we're not doing this without him. And so Showtime hired him back. And a lot of it came down to carte blanche and final edit. He and Frost said, we want to do what we want to do. It's not necessarily going to be what you're expecting, but it's what we want to do.
And I think he was also able to bring it down on a reasonable budget too.
Yeah. Well, and they filmed like all the music moments they filmed one day. And then he just said, where do I want to put these in the 18 episodes?
And I think like a lot of the characters were kind of built around who was available. Like I think part of the Audrey bit was she just had very limited availability to for the filming. But I think in terms of TV, I think it's also Twin Peaks and then the pilot section of Mulholland Drive. There's an immediate hook there. There's mysteries, there's threads, there's dynamics. On the Air was like, a period farce that would probably have been a hard sell at the time. Has anyone seen the movie Radioland Murders?
With Brad Pitt.
Yes, it's very similar tonally to that, and I think in 1992, coming off of Twin Peaks, it's not what people were expecting from it. And Hotel Room is a great concept in terms of, let's just do an anthology series where it's all these stories that take place in the same hotel room. I just thought the first few stories they went with were kind of dry.
Orange X.
Do any of you have any thoughts or comments on his music albums?
Oh,
So Julie
yeah.
Cruz.
Christabel.
Yeah.
It does stuff.
He has some of his own.
He does have his own. I have not heard. I just only heard like his collaborations.
I've only seen a couple of Christabel videos. So.
The see, I'm getting him confused with Chris McGlover. I apologize. I feel like Chris McGlover and David Lynch should do songs together, but Chris McGlover, yeah.
Imagine that jam
Like,
That would be
doing,
great.
like, he did the sound design and the music for Eraserhead with Alan Split, and you know, from there he kind of developed musical style as well.
But I mentioned his collaboration with Angelo Badalamenti.
Yes.
Angelo Badalamenti.
Well, I didn't
I think
realize when I was watching Mulholland Drive is the guy who spits out the espresso.
And obviously, I think the Twin Peaks theme and all that associated with that is wonderful. When he had his website, davidlynch.com, and he was posting stuff regularly, a lot of just weather reports. The sound designer, I'm blanking on his name, released a lot of soundtracks completing the Twin Peaks archive. So there's like 200 extra sound cues out there from Twin Peaks, and a lot from On the Air, because a lot of On the Air was leftover Badalamenti stuff that they were like, let's use this.
On the Air has an opening theme that incorporates fart noises.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So sadly, you can't find the Twin Peaks archive legally anymore, but I'm not saying it's not out there.
Can I ask one quick question to everyone?
Sure.
I know in the last year of his life, while he was kind of housebound with emphysema, he actually spent a lot of time trying to get a lot of stories down on paper and wanted other filmmakers to try to bring them to life. Is everyone okay with other people directing David Lynch movies?
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
It worked for Kubrick.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
But we never got his Noel.
No, man.
We got
I would love a Yargos Lanthimos
Yes.
to direct his screenplay.
Yeah.
All right? I would have Ari Aster do one too.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, we got one more question.
I know it's wrong, and you may, I was also late. Does anyone feel any different about him after the documentary that David wants to fly about transcendental meditation?
I haven't seen the documentary, and I kind of came into him already knowing about the transcendental meditation stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just the perspective I picked out. I didn't shift my views on him entirely, but, I mean, especially because at the time I was sort of looking into it, transcendental meditation, but yeah, it's awesome that he ends up meeting him and everything, but it is questioning his spirituality, which I felt was a little much.
Yeah.
I would say no one is perfect.
Yeah.
We're all humans shuffling this mortal coil at some point. But from all things that I've read, he's a whole lot less problematic than a lot of other people out there.
Yeah.
The
And
fact
other people
that
that make panels about.
yeah, the fact that so many of his female co-stars and artists wanted to continue working with him shows
He's an
me a
avid
lot.
artist.
And I had a rough beginning of the year because I had Lynch pass away and then Neil Gaiman being Neil Gaiman, which I'm like, give me David Lynch. I'm fine with whatever David Lynch was working
I have
with.
to, before that, gentleman.
Oh, I was just gonna say, a video I see, Maggie Mayfish did a very good video about like the treatment of actors just on stage, comparing Stanley Kubrick with David Lynch. Oh,
wow.
Nobody's perfect, but you can tell somebody is trying to just be a good soul.
Yeah. And there's a great book out there called Women of Lynch.
Oh,
yeah.
It's on the end of the table, right there.
Yeah, is it over there? Yep.
Yeah. Is this one? The Women of David Lynch. Wonderful read. It's discussing what his female characters mean to them, and it's all written by female authors and artists, and it's really well done. Definitely pick this up. Along with a lot of, there's another one, Your Lord Died.
Oh, yeah.
Also by, what press is
female.
this? Fayetteville Mafia Press. It's another Scott Ryan, yeah. Wow. We can talk more. Thank you for Lynch. If you enjoyed this panel, please submit reviews. If you want to hear more David Lynch, Twin Peaks stuff, or anything else, say, hey, we want to hear that next year. We'd love to have more voices.
Yes.
Or if there's other stuff you didn't like, please tell us. So we can improve, right?
And thank you, Dr. Jackie.
I have